This broadcast is presented by American Family Insurance, Ken Craft Agency, Bell Bank, Beyond Boundaries Therapy Services, Busick, Olson and Associates, the Fargo Jet Center, First International Bank and Trust, Forum Communications, Fusion Electric, Luther Family Buick GMC, Moore Engineering, Network Center, Off the Wall Advertising, OnSharp, Sanding Law, Sanford Health, and Shields.
From McCormick Gymnasium in Fargo, North Dakota, good evening, everyone. I am play-by-play Autumn Cutterba alongside Jeremiah Moore as we get ready for North Dakota High School basketball action as the Shanley Deacons prepare to take on the Grand Forks Central Knights. Basketball on Shanley TV is presented by the Shanley Athletic Club, taking Deacon athletics to a higher level. We have an exciting game for you tonight. Stay tuned, and we will return shortly, right after this message from our Deacon partners.
This broadcast is presented by American Family Insurance, Ken Craft Agency, Bell Bank, Beyond Boundaries Therapy Services, Busick, Olson and Associates, the Fargo Jet Center, First International Bank and Trust, Forum Communications, Fusion Electric, Luther Family Buick GMC, Moore Engineering, Network Center, Off the Wall Advertising, OnSharp, Sanding Law, Sanford Health, and Shields.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to McCormick Gymnasium, where the Shanley Deacons are getting ready to take on the Grand Forks Central Knights. Jeremiah, who do you think are some players that we can be looking out for tonight?
I think some players we should definitely be looking out for are on the side of Grand Forks Central Knights, Morgan Halgren and Lauren Reardon, who are the leading scorers for that team.
Yes.
As for the Shanley Deacons, I believe Emily Shrema and Mesiku Hakim are two players to watch. If the Grand Forks Central Knights don't have a good answer to them, then they are going to have a very hard time on defense. As for the Deacons, they will definitely have to watch out for those key scorers on the Grand Forks Central Knights and play some good defense if they don't want the Grand Forks Central Knights to get too many points.
Yes, and Emily Shrema and Mesiku Hakim, they are very powerful players down towards the basket, and they can definitely move the ball around, making plays, especially Hakim. She is coming off of multiple very good games, including 35 points against South. So she will definitely be one person to watch out for in this game especially.
Agreed, and their height certainly gives them an advantage that they should make use of on defense to stop those key scorers on the Grand Forks Central Knights side from getting too many points.
Yes, and as we start the game now, we have Hannah Hodel bringing up the ball for the Deacons. She gives it to Hakim. Looks and gives it to Shrema, who scores the first points of the game. She will be fouled and will go to the line to shoot now. Our starters for the Deacons are number 33, Emily Shrema, 32, Maggie Shorma, 14, Jetta Mevold, 20, Mesiku Hakim, and 24, Hannah Hodel. Our starters for the Knights include number 25, Kiara Holwiger, number 4, Morgan Halgren, number 3, Emily Giroux, and number 23, Allison Dube. Right now we have 25, Halwiger bringing up the ball.
Yeah, good hustle there, getting that ball as Mesiku tried to save it from going out of bounds.
Lauren Reardon took a shot. It does not go in. The Knights will have the ball on the baseline. Already both teams are bringing much power during this game, and I think it's definitely going to be a good one.
Absolutely. Emily Shrema already demonstrating that she is a threat to be reckoned with down low on the post, putting up 2 points for Shanley already.
Allison Dube's shot does not go in. 23, Dube with the ball. Gives it to Giroux. Reardon gives the ball to Halwiger. Her shot does not go in. Shrema bringing the ball for the Deacons. Gives it to Hodel, who continues to bring the ball up. Passes it down low to Hakim, who shoots. Does not go in. Reardon with the ball. Halgren bringing it up for the Knights. She looks for some options down on the court. Back to Reardon. And a foul is called. The foul is on number 14, Jetta Mevold. That'll be the Deacons' first foul of the game. Giroux throwing it in for the Knights. Mevold gets the ball, gives it to Shorma to bring up the court. Shorma passes it to, I believe, Shrema. It does not get to her.
Yeah, so far the Deacons are really counting on Shrema's height to give them an advantage in the passing game. And as we saw there, relying on one player too much can be a downside as Shrema got swarmed by the Grand Forks Central Knights.
Yes, and it looks like the Knights are starting to pick up on some of their offensive strategies of getting it down low. So the Deacons may have to rethink some of their plays. Hodel with the ball now. Passes it cross court to Mevold, gives it to Shorma, who shoots. Does not go in. Reardon gives the ball to Hallgren, who brings it up for the Knights. Passes it to Reardon. Reardon drives. Does not go in. Shorma with the ball, gives it to Hodel. Hodel passes it to Mevold. Mevold drives, and the ball goes in, giving the Deacons 2 more points. Hallgren will be throwing it in for the Knights. Hallgren bringing the ball up. Tries to pass it to Reardon. It does not get to her.
Good defense by the Deacons.
Yes, good defense by both teams so far. Shrema throwing it in for the Deacons. Hodel will bring the ball up.
The Deacons have been playing very patiently on their offense. They are certainly hesitant to take those three-point shots, and they're looking for those opportunities to get it down low. So the progress has been slow but very steady as they're able to play defense, stop the Grand Forks Knights from being able to score any points, and slowly building up their own lead.
The Knights shot doesn't go in. Mevold with the rebound, gives it to Hodel to bring up the court. Hodel gives it to Shrema. Passes it down low to Shorma, getting the easy layup. It does not go in. Shorma will be fouled and will go to the line to shoot 2. Jeremiah, what do you think of the Knights' defense so far? I know they've blocked a few good shots from below, but how do you think they're going to do the rest of the game with that?
Yes, so as you mentioned earlier, they have picked up on some of the Deacons' key offensive strategies, and the important part is just going to be applying their defense to the best of their ability to stop that where it counts the most. They've left them open on the three-point line, but that has been perfectly fine for them as the Deacons don't really take those shots, and they need to work on making sure they don't foul and give the Deacons any free shots, and making sure they block off those key players like they did when they swarmed Shrema.
Yes, and with that, the Deacons will also have to use communication a lot. They have struggled with that this year, and I really think this could be a game where they have to focus on that a lot. 31, Lauren Reardon fouled by the Deacons. She will be going to the line to shoot 2. That is the Deacons' second foul of the game. Reardon's first shot does not go in. The Deacons currently leading by 5.
This could be Grand Forks' first shot to get some points on the board, and they take it.
Shrema passes it into Hodel, who will bring it up the court. Hodel drives, passes it to Shorma. Back to Hodel. Drives to the basket, gives it over to Hakeem, who will get the layup. The Knights bring it up court now.
Yeah, there we saw some flaws with the Grand Forks Central defense. They had 3 people on Hakeem, but all of them were on the outside trying to block the pass, and none of them were on the inside trying to block the shot. And that left Hakeem open for a perfect shot.
Yes, and also you could see that the Deacons were communicating more, which could have thrown the defense off.
Correct.
Hodel bringing up the ball for the Deacons. She drives, puts up a shot, and it goes in, giving them 2 more points.
Incredible shot, getting through that defense.
Yes, that just goes to show how much strength it takes to get through them, as well as skill and communication with the rest of your team.
And a high block from Shrema.
Yes, the Knights will throw it in from the sideline now. 13, Ari throwing it in. Shorma intercepts that. She goes to the basket, gives it to Mevold, who will try to shoot. It doesn't go in. Mevold passes it to Shorma, shoots a 3. It does not go in. Hakeem getting the rebound, giving it back to Mevold. Gives it to Shrema, who tosses it up to Hakeem, who will shoot the layup, and it goes in. The Deacons getting 2 more points, currently leading by 7. Hallgren bringing the ball up for the Knights. Tries to drive, and a foul will be called on the Deacons. That is the 3rd foul for the Deacons on this game. Number 20, Thompson, will be throwing it in for Grand Forks. She looks for options on the baseline, passes it to Ari, who gives it to Hallgren. Hallgren looking for option, gives it to Thompson, back to Hallgren. She tries to pass it to Giroux. It does not get to her. The Deacons will take it from the baseline. Number 23, Allison Dube, is in for the Knights now. Emily Shrema passing it in for the Deacons. She gives it to Hodel, who will bring it up for Shanley. Hodel calling plays, looking for options.
Shrema and Hakeem both down low. This is a recipe for disaster for the Grand Forks Central Knights.
Shrema with the 3-pointer, really stepping out of the zone that she is really comfortable in. And it really is something I don't think the Knights were prepared for, with having Shrema outside of the general area of the basket.
Certainly. Shrema has so far been exerting her dominance down low in the post and putting up some points there, and that was really what the Grand Forks Knights were going to be expecting. And as we saw, the Deacons were very hesitant to shoot from the 3-point line, so they probably weren't expecting such versatility coming from Shrema and being able to get those shots as well.
Especially with the post player. And then also one of the guards, Hodel, also being able to get through and get down low to get those shots that they need to be ahead in the game. It really, as you said, shows the versatility of this entire team as a whole. Number 4, Hallgren throwing it in for the Knights. 31, Reardon will bring it up. She's looking for options, tries to drive, passes it to Ari, who gives it to Hallgren. Hallgren passes to Giroux. Giroux drives. Passes it, and Mevold gets it. Gives it to Hodel, who drives to the basket. Passes it over the top to Hakeem. Gives it to Shrema, who shoots. It does not go in. Multiple players went for the rebound. It does go out of bounds and will go to the Knights. Hallgren throwing it in for Grand Forks. Reardon will bring up the ball.
The Deacons have been very quick on their feet for defense. We saw in that last play that if there were any gaps in their defense at all, they were very quick to fill those in and didn't give the Grand Forks Central Knights any openings whatsoever.
Yes, and with quick feet comes communication also with that. And really, if they're able to communicate, they're able to get to their spots, and it will turn out in their favor. Mevold goes for the shot. It does not go in. She shoots again, and the second one goes in, giving the Deacons some more points. Hallgren will bring the ball up for the Knights. Passes it to Ari. Looks for option, gives it to Dube, who shoots. It does not go in. Shorma with the rebound. Gives it to Hodel to bring up the court. Hodel looks and gives it to Mevold, who shoots outside the 3. It does not go in. Hallgren with the rebound. She will also bring the ball up the court, passes it to Ari, gives it to Reardon, looks for some options down on the court, tries to drive, shoots, and she does get fouled by the Deacons. She will go to the line to shoot too. We haven't really seen many fouls this game, especially shooting fouls, so it will be interesting to see how all of these players do at the free throw line. Reardon's first shot does not go in. In for the Deacons now, we have number 12, Bryn McNeely, 5, Aubrey Dew, and number 41, Celie Stockmo. Reardon shooting her second shot now. It does not go in. Stockmo with the rebound, gives it to Dew, who will bring it up the court. Passes it to Bryn McNeely. McNeely looking for some options, gives it to Shorma. Looks down low to give to Stockmo. Stockmo will shoot, it does not go in. Hallgren bringing it up for the Knights. Gives it to Reardon. Reardon drives, shoots, does not go in. Shorma with the rebound. Shorma gives it to McNeely to bring down the court. McNeely looking for some options. Passes it to Shorma, who gives it back to McNeely. Gives it back to Shorma, who shoots outside the three. Does not go in. The Knights getting the rebound, and it will go out of bounds. The Deacons getting the ball this time. In now for the Knights, we have 25 Holwiger and 20 Thompson in the game. Aubrey Dew will be throwing it in for the Deacons. She gives it to McNeely. McNeely gives it back to Dew. Passes it over the top to Stockmo. And Celie will be fouled and will go to the line to shoot 2. Jay, how do you think the Deacons are doing on offense so far in this game?
On offense, they certainly had a strong showing right off the bat with Shrema and Hakeem putting up quite a few points for their team. With Hakeem out, though, things have started to slow for the Deacons a little bit here. It's been a while since they scored up until this free throw made just now by Stockmo.
Yes, and I think Stockmo will be a big player in this game. She's able to be very aggressive down below. And I think she just works very well with the team, especially with Shrema, and is a very good communicator on the court. Yeah,
and a very good shooter, too. She was the first 2 for 2 that we've had with shooting fouls and free throws.
Shrema throwing in the ball for the Deacons now. McNeely will bring it down court. McNeely gives it to Dew, who gives it to Shorma. Passes it back to Dew. Gives it to Shrema, who shoots from the free throw. It goes in. 2 more points for the Deacons. Thompson passes it in to Hallgren. Passes it to Holwiger, who shoots. It does not go in. Blocked by Shrema. McNeely bringing the ball down court for the Deacons. Passes it to Dew, to Shorma. Shorma gives it back to Dew. Gives it to Stockmo. Passes it over the top to Shrema, who will get the layup, giving Shrema 2 more points. In for the Deacons now, we have Jetta Mevold coming in at the timeout. If you've enjoyed watching our ShanleyTV.com broadcast, please consider making a donation to help us continue to bring you quality programming. We rely on donations to bring you every broadcast, and we need your help to continue to improve the quality of our productions and to add new features for you, the viewer, to enjoy. If you are interested in donating, please contact Joelle Shuey at 701-893-3225. Again, that is Joelle Shuey at 701-893-3225. Thank you for watching, and thanks for your support of Shanley TV.
So far in this game, Shrema has been relentless, putting up a total of 11 points so far.
Yes, she is, I believe, the leading scorer for the Deacons at the moment, and really is just a powerful player on both offense and defense, and definitely one to look out for the rest of the game.
Yeah, standing at 6'4", she is unchallenged in terms of height in this game, and she's been able to utilize that very well on defense, blocking multiple passes and shots, and also getting high passes on offense that give her perfect opportunities for shots.
Knights bringing up the ball now. Number 31, Reardon with it. Passes it to Doob. Doob gives it back to Reardon. Reardon driving to the basket. Passes it out to Ari, and a travel is called. The Deacons will throw it in from the baseline. Shrema will give it to McNeely to bring down the court. The Deacons are clearly setting up a play. Gives it to Shrema. Passes it down low to Mevold, and it goes out of bounds. The Knights will get the ball. In for the Knights now, number 11, Emily Arnold. Arnold will throw it in for the Knights. She gives it to Ari to bring down the court. Ari looks for option, gives it to Thompson, passes it to Holwiger. Thompson. Reardon went to shoot. It did not go in. Dew bringing the ball down for the Deacons now. Gives it to McNeely. Schramer setting up the screen for McNeely. McNeely drives, shoots, it goes in, giving the Deacons 2 more points. Thompson throws the ball into to Ari. Excuse me. Ari looking for options down the court, gives it to Thompson. Thompson gives it to Holwiger, gives it to Reardon. Reardon drives to the basket, steps out of bounds. The Deacons will now get the ball. Excuse me, a foul was called, and the Knights will keep the ball. In for the Knights now, we have 3, Giroux, number 4, Hallgren, and 11, Arnold. Giroux throwing it in for the Knights. Hallgren with the ball. And another foul is called on the court. The foul is on Bryn McNeely, and it is the 6th Deacon foul of the game. McNeely gets the ball, and it goes out. The Knights will get it again. In for the Deacons now is Hannah Hodel, number 24. Number 3, Giroux, throwing it in for the Knights. She gives it to Hallgren. Hallgren gives it to Reardon. Gives it to Giroux. Back to Hallgren. Hallgren gives it to Giroux, and a foul is called. The Deacons will get the ball now. You know, Jeremiah, during that last possession, there were many fundamental mistakes that were made, including fouls and travels and just mistakes that both teams, frankly, could clean up a little bit during the rest of this game, don't you think?
I would agree.
Mevold passes it over the top to Stockmo. Stockmo shoots. It does not go in. She shoots again. Also does not go in. A foul called now on the Deacons. That is the 7th team foul for the Deacons. The Knights now in bonus. The Knights will shoot a free throw now for their bonus shot. Number 12, Giroux, shooting that bonus.
Yeah, the fouls are something the Deacons really need to avoid here despite their considerable lead. They don't want to give too much advantage over to the Knights, and by giving them too many fouls, that is certainly a threat that they will have to consider.
Yes, and most of their fouls have been in the past, 4 minutes, which is something, like you said, they definitely want to avoid because it could work against them in the future if the Knights were to catch up considerably to them. McNeely bringing the ball up now for the Deeks. Shrema sets up a screen. McNeely passes to Hodel. Hodel drives, gives it to Mevold. Mevold back to Hodel. Hodel drives again, passes it to Stockwell. A foul is called on the Knights. The Deacons will throw it in at the baseline. 24, Hodel throwing it in for the Deacons. In for Shanley now, we have 32, Shorma, and 20, Hakeem. And in for the Knights, we have Kiara Holwiger in now. Hodel throwing it in for the Deacons. Gives it to Shrema down below. Does not go in. Hodel gets the ball. A jump is called. The Knights will get the ball now. Holgren throwing it in for Grand Forks. She gives it to Reardon to bring up the court. And back to Holgren. Double screen. Holgren drives. And a travel is called. Once again, another fundamental mistake made.
That's been 3 now called on the Grand Forks Central Knights. Like you said, a very fundamental mistake that they really cannot afford to be making. This is handing over the ball to the Deacons 3 times while they are down 20 points.
Hodel bringing the ball up now for the Deacons. Passes it to Shrema. Shrema looks to Hakeem. Gives it to Shorma down low. The shot does go in. Reardon passing in the ball to Ari, who will bring it up the court. Ari looks and gives it back to Reardon. Reardon using the screen set up for her. Passes it to number 20, has the ball now, Thompson. Passes it back to Reardon. Reardon shoots outside the 3. It does not go in. Sharma with the rebound. Passes it back to Hodel. Hodel with the ball now. Looks to Sharma. Sharma back to Hodel. Passes it above to Hakeem. Shrema gives it to Hodel. Hodel gives it to Mevold. Mevold shoots outside the 3. It does not go in. Holwiger with the ball now. Brings it up court for the Knights. Tries to drive. And tries to pass it to Ari. It does not go in. The Deacons will pass the ball in now from the sideline. Shrema giving it to Hodel. Hodel will bring it down the court. Hodel looks, gives it back to Shrema. Passes it down to Mevold. It goes out of bounds. And the Knights will take the ball now. Now the Deacons, they have made some passing mistakes I've seen recently. And like we were saying for the Knights, it is a fundamental thing that maybe they could just clean up a little bit, make this game a lot more clean with less fouls and less out-of-bounds plays.
Yes, it is a very difficult task for the Grand Forks Central Knights to be able to catch up. Being down 22 points, it is as important as ever for them to stick to their fundamentals, make sure they're checking themselves, and be able to play this game to the best of their ability and not make these mistakes anymore, because that is the only way they will be able to catch up.
12, Giroux bringing the ball up for the Knights now. Passes it to Reardon, who shoots outside the 3. It goes in, giving the Knights their first points in a few minutes. Hodel bringing the ball up now for the Deacons. Calling plays down on the court. She looks and passes to Shorma, who tries to drive. Passes out to Shrema. Gives it to Hodel on the other side of the court. Hodel drives and gets the layup. It goes in, giving the Deacons 2 more points. Thompson throwing it in for the Knights. She gives it to Reardon. Reardon will bring it up for Grand Forks. Gives it to Ari, who gives it to Holwiger, to Thompson, and back to Reardon. To Ari. Ari passes it, tries to pass it down low. Hodel ends up getting the ball. She will bring it up the court. Hodel passes it down low to Hakim, and it goes out of bounds. The Knights will take the ball again. In for the Knights now, we have 23 Dube and 4 Holgren in the game. Reardon will pass it to Holgren, who will bring it up court. Holgren uses the double screen. Passes it down low. Dube with the ball. She shoots. It does not go in. Reardon with the ball. Passes it out. And number 13, Ari's shot does not go in. Hoda will bring the ball up for the Deacons. Tries to drive. She goes for the drive again. The layup goes in. Hannah Hodo getting 2 baskets in a row now. Holgren bringing the ball up for the Knights.
The Deacons defense has certainly recognized that Grand Forks Central has a weakness in their shooting and kind of plays central around the lane, trying to box them out of that option and forcing them to make these shots.
Yes, keeping them further out, further in their out of their comfort zone, which will make it harder for them to ultimately play this game. The ball goes out of bounds. Ari throwing it in for the Knights.
So far, the Deacons have shown that they are very adaptive in regards to what they need to do at any given moment. Their defense has certainly adapted to call out the weaknesses of the Grand Forks Central offense, and on offense, the Deacons have been able to recognize that they've shown that Hakeem is a really good shooter, and now Grand Forks has certainly remembered how well she was doing early on in the game and started guarding her a lot more, but that gives the Deacons' other offensive players more room to move around, and they've certainly taken advantage of that.
And like you said, with finding weaknesses well on defense, they've also found the weaknesses in the Knights' defense and being able to work around that and find their way to the basket with strength and perseverance just to get to it and ultimately making those difficult shots. Mevold with the ball now, passes it to Shorma, gives it down low to Shrema. And the Deacons will pass it in underneath, a foul being called on the Knights. Hoda will pass it in for the Deacons. In now is number 12, McNeely. She will now throw it in. Neely passes it out to Sharma, who shoots outside the 3. It goes in. 3 more points for the Deacons. Holgren throwing the ball in, bringing the ball up for the Knights now. Passes it to Giroux. Gives it to Reardon again. Reardon looks for someone to pass to. Pass it to Holgren down low. And a foul called on the Deacons. Holgren will now go to the line to shoot the bonus. Now the Knights have started to show some strength at the free throw line, and I believe that if they can keep this momentum going, especially now that they're on bonus, this could be a spot where they get a lot of their points. Holgren's first shot goes in. She will line up to shoot a second one.
This is really what the Grand Forks Central Knights really need right now to be able to shoot these free throws well, because the Deacons have shown that they are not going to slow down with their fouling. And if the Grand Forks Central Knights can learn to exploit that, that's certainly going to give them an edge in this battle.
It definitely will. Du passes the ball down low to Hakim. She shoots, does not go in. Stockmo shoots again. It also doesn't go in. Holgren bringing the ball down for the Knights. She'll pass it to Ari, who looks, passes it to Dube, looks to Holgren, passes the ball. She gives it to 13, Ari, and back to Holgren. Number 12 with the ball, she tries to drive, shoots, it goes in, giving the Knights some more points. It's clear, I think, that after those free throws, it gave them a little bit of momentum and able to finish out this half, getting some extra points and giving them some strength over halftime and momentum to bring into the second half with them. I do think this will be an interesting next half with how good each team is playing and doing throughout this entire game. For the Deacons, we have the leading scorer right now, Emily Shrema, number 33. She is really just doing amazing at getting down low and making those plays that are really needed for the entire game to happen, and is ultimately one of the biggest players in getting the Deacons this 23-point lead that they have. And for the for the Knights, they have their leading scorer, Lauren Reardon, number 31, with 7 points, and that is really just most of their points, and it really goes to show that she's a leader on their team, being the leading scorer and really just one of their most powerful players yet. Jeremiah, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, I think the Grand Forks Central Knights are certainly showing some more positive aspects of their gameplay here towards the end of the second half. Their offense started putting some points up on the board, exploiting those fouls for some free throws, and even finding some openings in the Deacons' defense. And they also showed better teamwork, better cohesion on their defense, and started kind of shutting the Deacons out there towards the end. They do have quite a ways to go in order to come back, but they do show that they have those positive aspects to be able to bring to the game and try and make that comeback. If they can keep those up, then they really do have a chance at pulling this back around. However, the Deacons have shown that they are a force to be reckoned with, building up a lead of 23 points in the first half, and that is something that is going to give them a very big advantage going forward. They can carry that momentum onward, and if they do that, then the Grand Forks Central Knights are going to have a very hard time.
Yes, and with all of that, it's bound to be an interesting second half, and it's really just going to be interesting, and we cannot wait to see the rest of it. We will see all of you after halftime. We are back in McCormick Gymnasium for the second half of the Deacons versus Grand Forks Central Knights. The Deacons are currently leading 33-10. And a quick shout out to Marsha watching from the Caymans. Enjoy the game, and we hope some warm weather is sent this way. Hallgren with the ball. She gives it to Reardon. Reardon shoots. Does not go in. Maggie Shorma passes the ball to Hodel, who will bring it up for the Deacons. Hodel tries to drive. Looks, gives it to Mevold. Hodel with the ball, gives it to Shorma, passes it to Shrema, passes it over to Hakim. And the Knights will get the ball. 23 Dube with it, gives it to Hallgren. Hallgren will bring the ball up for the Knights. She looks for some options on the court, gives it to Reardon. Reardon shoots. It does not go in. Shrema with the rebound, gives it to Hodel, who will bring it up. Hodel looks for some options on the court, gives it to Shorma, passes it to Mevold. Mevold tries to drive, shoots. It does not go in. And a travel was called before she shot. The Knights will get the ball. Hallgren throwing it in for Grand Forks. So far this second half, no points, and the Knights seem to be bringing an intensity they didn't have in the second half. Jeremiah, what do you think could come of this newfound momentum that they have?
Their aggressive nature has not yielded any fruit just yet, but being able to put some pressure on the Deacons on their defensive side of things has certainly caused some confusion almost, I would say, as that travel foul was called and gave the Knights the ball back right away.
Shrema with the ball now. She passes it to Hodel. Hodel calling some plays. She drives, shoots, does not go in, but a foul is called. Hodel will now go to the line to shoot 2. This will be the first foul of the second half. The foul was called on number 23, Dube, on the Knights.
Yeah, the Knights brought that intensity. They had that teamwork going for them down low. Got all their people that they could on Hannah Hodel to stop her from getting that point, and so far it has paid off as she did not make that shot. And misses the other one as well.
Yeah. 23 gives the ball to Hallgren. Hallgren passes it to Reardon. Reardon will drive, and a foul is called on the Deacons. Number 20, Hakim. The Knights will throw it in from the baseline now. Number 12, Drew will throw it in for the Knights. She passes it over the top to Reardon. Reardon tries to drive, does not work. Tries again, passes it to Dube, who shoots. It does not go in. Reardon shoots, also doesn't go in. And finally, the shot goes in with Holwiger. Hodel will bring the ball up for the Deacons. She tries to drive, tries to pass to Shrema, and Reardon gets the ball. Reardon bringing it up now for the Knights.
The Knights certainly have a newfound tenacity on their offense.
Yes, and they're hustling. They are calling plays. They are causing, like you said, confusion on the Deacons' part. And I think it's really playing out in their favor right now, as the Deacons have not scored a point yet this half.
Yeah, and they've been able to bring about a lot of turnovers, giving them the ball more often than they normally would have, and then that gives them more chances. They're able to get more shots, and that has given them some points here. And they're looking to keep that up.
The ball goes out of bounds, and the Knights will keep the ball this time. They'll throw it in from the sideline.
So far, they're relying a lot on Reardon, but that has given them some opportunities where the Deacons dedicate a lot of their resources on defense to guarding Reardon, and they were able to give number 25, Hallwiger, that open shot.
Yes, and she is really just coming out now and making all these plays, making all these shots, being a powerful player that we haven't seen yet in this game. Reardon passes into Giroux, and Shrema gets the ball.
moving a little too quickly on their offense there.
Mevold passes to Shorma, who shoots outside the 3. It does not go in. Reardon gets the rebound and will drive for the Knights, passes it to Giroux, who would try to shoot. And a foul is called on the Deacons. It is a shooting foul, and Ashley Giroux, number 12, will shoot now for the Knights. This is the second team foul for the Deacons. Her first shot does go in, giving the Knights another point and really just keeping to build on this momentum that they have.
That form was fantastic.
Giroux's second shot also goes in, and a timeout is called for the Knights. Jeremiah, what do you think is going on in those huddles right now?
Well, right now the Grand Forks Central coach is probably telling his players to keep up what they're doing so far, because the Deacons have scored no points this half, and they have been able to put up some points pretty quickly, something we didn't see them able to do in the first half. They've gotten 4 points so far, and that's going to help them slowly start to close that gap between them and the Deacons. If they can keep that up, then they might be able to catch up. However, there are only 14 minutes left, so their time is limited. They do have a lot of work to do and only a short time to do it. The Deacons, meanwhile, have to get their teamwork going again on the offensive side, get their communication working, and not get thrown off so much by the intensity of the new Grand Forks Central defense.
Yes, I think their coach Jacobson was just enforcing communication, enforcing intensity, and just enforcing the fundamentals that ultimately got them to this point in the game. Hodel bringing the ball up now for the Deacons. Pass it to Shorma, back to Hodel, to Mevold. Pass it over the top to Shrema and to Hakim. Will shoot. It does not go in. She shoots again. It also doesn't go in, but is fouled by the Knights. She will go to the line to shoot 2. The foul was on 12, Giroux. Hakim lining up for her first shot. It goes in, giving the Deacons their first points of the second half. She will take her second shot now.
Great form.
It also goes in, giving the Deacons another point. The Knights with the ball now. The Deacons now starting to press. Reardon with the ball. Looks for options, gives it to Giroux. Gives it to Dube, who shoots. It goes in, a 3-point swish by Holwinger. Hodel bringing up the ball now for the Deacons. Passes it to Shrema, who looks down low for teammates. Passes it to Mevold, who gives it to Hakim, to Hodel. Hodel trying to get past the defense. She goes to drive. Throws up a shot. It does not go in. Holwinger with the rebound. She will bring it up for the Knights. And Hodel will steal it right off of her. Goes for the rebound. The layup that does go in. Holgren bringing the ball up now for the Knights. She passes it to Ari, who looks low. Passes it to Reardon. Gives it to Holwinger. Gives it to number 12, Giroux, who will shot. It did not go in. Hodel bringing up the ball for the Deacons.
Deacons are starting to put some points on the board again, and this has certainly shaken the confidence of the Grand Forks Central Knights. And we can see that the Deacons are gaining back their confidence, and that's playing into their defense as well. They're being a little more aggressive, assertive, working together well as a team, and that's starting to throw a wrench in the plans of this Grand Forks Central offense.
Giroux passes the ball to Ari, gives it back to Holwiger. The Deacons will get the ball now. Number 12, Bryn McNeely in now for the Deacons. Shrema will give the ball to McNeely, who will bring it up the court for the Deacons. Gives it to Mevold, passes it to Shorma, throws up a shot, and it goes in, giving the Deacons 2 more points. They are really building on this momentum now and are becoming very powerful in the second half. Like you said, throwing a wrench in the Knights' plans and trying to take back this game for their own.
And the Deacons have possession of the ball once again. This is not what the Grand Forks Central Knights needed in this second half. They started off strong, but after that timeout, they seemed to lose a little of their momentum, and that really gave the advantage over to the Deacons once again, and we can see that they have built up their lead even more now.
McNeely with the ball now. She goes to drive, gives it to Mevold, and Mevold steps out of bounds slightly, which will give the ball to the Knights. 13, Ari passing the ball to Hallgren. Hallgren will bring up the ball for the Knights. Giroux with the ball, gives it to Ari, back to Giroux, who will try to drive. Gives it to Thompson, who will shoot outside the three, giving the Knights 3 more points. McNeely with the ball now, brings it up the court for the Deacons. She looks, passes it to Shrema, gives it to Dew. Dew gives it to Mevold. Mevold goes to shoot, but steps out of bounds again behind her. Number 13, Ari, will pass it in for the Knights, and she will give it to Hallgren, who will bring it up for Grand Forks. Passes it to Giroux, gives it down low to Reardon. Reardon goes to shoot, and it goes in, giving the Knights 2 more points, but it is fouled, so she will go to the line to shoot 1 more.
They are now just 19 points behind. Better off than they were at the end of the first half, but certainly not terribly close to catching up with the Deacons. There are 10 minutes and 53 seconds remaining, and they still have a lot of ground to cover.
Yes, it will take perseverance and confidence and aggressiveness to close that gap ultimately. Hodel back in the game now. She's bringing up the ball for the Deacons. Passes it to Dew down low. It goes out of bounds. The Knights will get the ball back. A timeout is called for the Deacons, a 30-second timeout. I really think that in both of these huddles, their coaches are talking about fundamentals, about passing, moving quickly, and communicating with their team members in order to keep their momentum flowing and just to keep the game on their side. Jeremiah, what do you think?
Yeah, as important as it is for the Deacons to get the ball down low in the post, it is also not so important that they should be overthrowing their passes and giving possession back over the Knights. Even if the Knights are behind, they can't afford to give them any advantages because the Knights do have the characteristics, the abilities that they need to overcome the Deacons. And if they give them too many chances, that is going to hurt them.
Yes, and the Knights are very good at taking any chance they get, which could give them a better chance in this game.
Yeah, they are slowly closing that gap, and any big chance that they can have, they will take. The Deacons can't afford to give them too many openings.
And the Knights will get the ball again, throwing it in from out of bounds. A foul called on Hannah Hodel, number 24. In for the Knights now, we have Hallwiger. Reardon throwing it in for the Knights. Throws it into Hallwiger. Gives it back to Reardon outside the 3. Calling 3 plays. Hodel steals it right off her and goes for the layup. It goes in, giving the Deacons 2 more points. Giroux throwing it into Hallgren. Bringing it up for the Knights. Gives it to Reardon. She tries to drive. Puts up a layup and gets fouled. She will go to the line to shoot 2 points. And the foul was called on number 20, Mesaku Hakim. That is the Deacons' 5th foul of this half. Reardon lining up for her first shot now. The shot does go in, giving the Knights another point.
Reardon showing us once again why she is a top scorer for the Grand Forks Central Knights.
Stockmo now in for the Deacons, as well as number 12, Ashley Giroux, in for the Knights. McNeely bringing the ball up for Shanley now. She looks to pass, gives it to Shrema. Shrema tries to drive, shoots up a layup, and it goes in, giving the Deacons a few more points. Holwiger passes it into Reardon. Reardon gives it to Giroux, who shoots, and it does not go in. The Deacons will get the ball from out of bounds. In for the Knights is 23 Dube. Shrema will throw in the ball to McNeely, who will bring it up the court for the Deacons. Looking to pass, gives it to Shrema. Gives it to Hodel. Hodel drives, passes it to McNeely. McNeely also drives, tries to pass to Shrema. The Knights get the ball. Reardon bringing it up. Passes it to Holwiger, who shoots outside the three. A swish by Holwiger. And that just restored so much momentum for the Knights and so much confidence. And a foul was called on the Deacons, on the Knights, number 12, Giroux. The Deacons will get the ball.
So far, this has been a very interesting second half. If it weren't for the lead that the Deacons had built up in the first half, they'd be struggling quite a bit right now.
Yes, it would be a neck-and-neck game. The Knights with the ball now. Holwiger bringing it up for Central. Tries to drive. Puts up a shot. It does not go in. Sockmo got the rebound and gives it to Hodel to bring up. Hodel looks for some options. Passes it down to Shrema, who will shoot. Does not go in. Reardon with the ball, bringing it up for the Knights. Reardon drives, shoots. Does not go. The points are not counted. A block called on the Deacons. The Knights will get the ball again out of bounds. That's the 6th Shanley foul in the second half. Reardon with the ball now. Gives it to Ari. And Dube puts up a shot. It does not go in. McNeely bringing the ball up now for the Deacons. Gives it to Hodel, who will drive. Passes it to Dew, who shoots. Does not go in. Shrema with the rebound. She goes to shoot. A foul is called on Reardon, and Shrema will go to the line to shoot 2. Shrema lining up for her first shot now. It does go in, giving the Deacons another point, keeping Shrema as the leading scorer in this game. And for the Deacons now, we have Hallgren and Thompson. Shrema lining up for her second shot. It does not go in. 12, Giroux getting the rebound. Giroux brings it up for the Knights. The pressure is on by the Deacons. Gives it out to Ari, who shoots. It does not go in. Dew with the rebound. Passes it to McNeely. McNeely gives it to Hodel. Hodel looks to give it to McNeely. McNeely shoots. It does not go in. Hallgren with the rebound. Ari with the ball. Gives it back to Hallgren. Hallgren drives. Gives it to Giroux, who shoots. It goes in. McNeely with the ball now, bringing it up for the Deacons. Gives it to Shrema outside the 3. Shrema still has the ball, drives. A double dribble is called on Emily Shrema, and the Knights will get the ball. In for the Knights now, we have 11 Arnold and 31 Reardon, and in for the Deacons, we have 32 Maggie Shorma and 20 Mesaku Hakim. Reardon bringing the ball up now for the Knights.
The Grand Forks Central Knights are now just 18 points behind. This is the closest the game has been so far.
Holwiger passes to Thompson. Thompson gives it to Reardon, who shoots. It does not go in. Hakim with the rebound, gives it to Hodel to bring down the court for the Deacons. Hodel drives, shoots, it goes in, giving the Deacons 2 more points. Hallgren with the ball, bringing it up for Shanley. Shanley pressing. And a timeout is called by the Knights. And right now, the Deacons are leading by 20 points, one of the closest gaps the game has been so far. And I really think the Knights are really putting in their best effort and are really doing amazing compared to what they did in the first half. Just so much more confidence and so much more aggressiveness that is working for their betterment.
Yeah, it's incredible what a good fight they're putting up. Being so far behind, it would be easy for any other team to lose confidence, but the Knights are showing that they are fighters and they are not going to give up. They're going to keep fighting down to the last second of this game, giving us a very exciting and electrifying second half.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Shanley TV is made possible in part by the Shanley Athletic Club and their generous members. Check out their website today at shanleyathleticClub.com to learn how your membership contributes to Shanley TV, the Deacon Den, and many other student-athlete needs. While you're there, be sure to renew your annual membership by clicking the Join Now button or become a member if you're not one already. It is easy to become a member and anyone can join, so sign up today. The Shanley Athletic Club, taking Deacon athletics to a higher level. The teams now are coming out of their huddles after a timeout was called by the Central Knights. The Knights will take the ball now. Hallgren throwing it into Reardon. Reardon will bring it up. The Deacons providing press. Reardon gives it to Thompson. And a foul is called on the Deacons. Sealy Stockmill called for the foul. Number 20, Thompson, at the line now shooting the bonus. Shooting 1 and 1. The shot does not go in. Hakim with the rebound. Gives it to Hodel to bring up the court for the Deacons. Gives it to Mevold outside the 3. Passes it down to Hakim. Hakim puts up a shot. It does not go in. Reardon bringing the ball up for the Knights. The Deacons get the ball back. Stockmill passing it to Hodel. And Hodel gets the easy layup, giving the Deacons a few more points. Hallgren passes the ball to Thompson and back to Hallgren to bring up. To Reardon. Reardon looks for options on the court. She passes it to Holwiger, who shoots outside the 3. And it goes in, giving the Deacons a few more points. Hodel bringing the ball up now for the Deeks.
Hannah Hodel now ties Emily Shrema for highest scorer in this game with 14 points each.
Stockmill with the ball down low, passes it to Hakim, to Hodel outside the 3. She shoots, it does not go in. Hallgren bringing the ball up for the Knights. Gives it to Thompson. To Reardon. Reardon calling some plays. Gives it down low to Arnold, and Arnold's shot goes in.
Now just 17 points behind. The Grand Forks Central Knights are making this closer than ever.
Yes, they're building off their momentum. They're using their confidence and just making the Deacons mess up, getting them confused, and using it to get ahead. A push is called on the Knights. Foul was on number 20, Thompson. The Deacons will get the ball again. In for the Knights now is 12, Giroux. Hodel will be passing the ball in for the Deacons. Hodel passes it to Hakim, to Mevold, who shoots. It does not go in. Stockmill with the rebound. And a foul is called on Stockmill. Excuse me. Foul is called on Giroux, the 6th team foul of the game. Hodel passes it again for the Deacons. Mevold with the ball goes to drive, passes out to Hodel, to Shorma. Shorma gives it to Hakim, back to Shorma. Shorma puts up a shot. It does not go in. And a foul is called. The Knights will get the ball. Foul was called on Sealy Stockmo. It's the 8th team foul. 33, Emily Shrema now in for the Deacons. 20, Thompson shooting 1-1. The shot does not go in. Reardon with the rebound.
With the Knights in possession again, we want to see the Deacons own fouls, giving the Knights plenty of opportunities to try and take back the game.
With those opportunities, the Knights are using the skills that they've built up over the years. Quick ball movements, quick feet, communication, and it's just giving them all the strength they need.
A very risky shot, though, does not pay off.
Hodo brings the ball up for the Deacons now. Looks, gives it to Shorma, and gives it to Shrema then. Shrema puts up a shot, is fouled. She will go to the line to shoot 2. Foul called on 13, Marin Ari. Shrema lining up for her first shot. The shot goes in. She lines up for her second now.
With just 4 minutes left in the game, the chances of a Knight comeback are growing slimmer and slimmer.
The second shot also goes in. The Knights will get the ball now. Thompson throws it into Hallgren. Hallgren bringing the ball up for the Knights. Gives it to Ari and to Hallwigger. Gives it to Reardon. Reardon looks to drive. Goes in, throws up a shot. It does not go in. Shorma gives it to Hodo. Hodo gives it to Shrema, who will bring it up for the Deacons.
The Knights applying some good pressure, but the Deacons staying calm in the midst of it.
Hodo looking for the play. Gives it to Mevold, to Shorma, who shoots outside the 3. Does not go in. The Knights will take the ball from out of bounds. In for the Knights now is 23, Dube, and for the Deacons, number 12, Bryn McNeely. The Knights will take the ball now. 13, Ari, giving it to Hallgren, who will bring it up. Passes it to Hallrigger, who shoots. It does not go in. McNeely brings up the ball for the Deacons. Gives it to Sharma. Back to McNeely. Gives it to Hodel.
The Deacons are moving very quickly now. It seems they really want to give these Knights no chance for a comeback, putting even more points up and widening the gap between these two teams.
Hallwigger with the ball. Looks to shoot. She shoots. It does not go in. Sharma with the rebound. Gives it to McNeely to bring up the court. McNeely passes it over to Shrema. She shoots. It goes in, giving the Deacons 2 more points. Hallgren bringing up the ball. Passes it to Reardon, who shoots outside the 3. It does not go in. Sharma gives it to McNeely to bring up the court. McNeely looks to drive. She does not. Mevold gives it to Shrema, and the shot goes in, widening the gap once again.
Yeah, the Knights have been taking some really desperate shots now, and they have not been paying off. The Deacons, meanwhile, staying very calm and just keeping their heads on straight and widening that gap. Now the score is 58-33. The Knights need 25 points just to tie the Deacons, and only 2 minutes remain.
Yes, and as you can see, the Knights, they're putting in their best shooters to try to close that gap, which at this point, as you've said, the odds of that happening are becoming slimmer and slimmer as the time goes down, and the Deacons don't seem fazed by it at all, which just can be attributed to their well-training, their fundamentals, and the Knights, they have cleaned up so much, it's almost like they should be coming back. It should be a close game. And at this point, with how much they're behind, they just need to throw up those desperate shots in order to do that.
Yeah, they've become hyper-focused on their offense, though, and we can see that hurting their defense quite a bit. Emily Schrema has been able to put up 6 points here very recently, making her the top scorer of the game with 22 points for her team.
Both teams coming out of their huddles now. The Knights will get the ball from the baseline. Hallgren throwing it into Ari. Hallgren with the ball now. Passes it to Arnold. Dube passes it out of bounds, intended for Ari. The Deacons will get the ball. In for the Deacons now, number 40, Ava Mears. This is the first time we have seen her all game. McNeely bringing up the ball for Shanley. She looks to drive, passes it to Mears, gives it to Roney, back to McNeely. McNeely to Mears to Dew. Gives it to Roney. Back to McNeely. McNeely looks to drive, gives it to Roney, who will look to drive, and McNeely shoots outside the 3. It does not go in. And the ball goes out of bounds. The Knights will get the ball. And this is also the first time we have seen Nora Roney in the game. Definitely a good player that we haven't seen yet at all.
Yeah, the Deacons, now being 25 points ahead, have made this game the furthest apart that it has ever been and are giving their better players a well-earned rest.
Arnold with the ball now, gives it to Hallgren, who shoots and gets the 3-pointer. Roney passes into Dew. Dew bringing up the ball, gives it to Rested, who passes to Stockmo. Stockmo gives it to Dew, who shoots outside the 3. It does not go in. Number 51, Win with the rebound. Hallgren gives it to Dube, who shoots outside the 3. Gets it at the 3 again. Dube passing it into Roney. Dube bringing the ball up now. Dube passes to Rusted. Gives it to Roney.
30 seconds remaining.
And a sub is called by the Deacons. In for the Knights, now we have, in the Knights, number 20, Aspen Thompson. And in for the Deacons, we have 31, Visser, and 3, Bennington. The Knights will get the ball now. Giroux passing it into Dube, who will bring it up for the Knights. She goes to drive right away. Passes it to Arnold, who will shoot. Does not go in. Visser with the ball, gives it to Rusted to bring up the court. Rusted passes it to Roney. Roney gives it to Bennington. Gives it to Rusted.
The Deacons just running the clock at this point. 5 seconds remaining.
Gives it to Bennington. Bennington pivoting a lot. And that is the end of the game. This really was an interesting game throughout the entire time. Definitely some ups and downs with both teams. And it really was just an interesting game overall. Jeremiah, what did you think of it?
I thought the game was very interesting. The Deacons made that first half not close at all, building up a very good lead, but the Knights showed that they are fighters, never gave up in that second half, and made it very close contest, neck and neck, moving slowly, trying to close that gap. They never just were able to get enough of a lead. The Deacons kept putting points on the board and making sure that gap stayed consistent, and they maintained their lead that they built up in the first half. Had both sides played as well as they did in the second half, it would have been a very, very close game. So the Deacons' advantage that they built up in the first half was very key to their victory here tonight.
Yes, and both teams had some very significant players, especially Emily Schrema for the Deacons, putting up significant amounts of points throughout the entire game. She really was just a predominant player, as well as Lauren Reardon for the Knights. She really was one of their highest scorers and really just helped them get to where they were throughout this game.
Very well played by both sides. Very good persistence, teamwork, and power and drive.
Yes, a very interesting game overall and a very good closeout to this night. For Jeremiah Moore and our entire crew, I am Autumn Cutterbutt. The final score from Fargo Shanley Deacons 59 and the Grand Forks Central Knights 39. To watch our archived version of this entire game and our other broadcasts, go to shanleytv.com. This proceeding has been a presentation of Shanley TV. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.